For the longest while, I sat in front of my blinking cursor and wondered what creative subtitle I could give this review of the 2020 horror comedy titled Crawlers. I usually try to sum up the video in a few words, something catchy that gets your attention and makes you just that much more likely to watch me talk about the film for the next 10 or 15 minutes. However, I stopped doing this when I realized that the effort I had already put into coming up with this subtitle has surpassed the effort put into nearly any other aspect of this film. From the dialogue that screams exposition at the viewer to the incredibly stilted and unnatural performances throughout, there was not really one aspect of Crawlers that I think I actually ended up enjoying. Actually, that's a lie. There was one good part of the film. The cover art when I clicked on the image on Hulu was easily the highlight of my evening. To prepare you for the quality of film I'm about to review, I will say this. "I am going to kill the fuck out of you," was a line of dialogue. Not only was it a line of dialogue, but it was a genuinely sincere line, a line that I think was meant to provide gravitas to a pivotal moment in the third act. Let's get going, I suppose. Okay, so the basic idea of this film is that there was an invasion of alien body snatchers during a St. Patrick's Day pub crawl of a small town. An unlikely group of college students ends up being the ones who need to deal with this problem. It sounds pretty cool on paper, right? Absolutely wrong. Anything interesting that could have happened in this movie basically does not. In fact, I am pretty certain that this massive horde of alien lookalikes, these doppelgangers who are somehow a threat to the entire Earth, you only see like 5 of them throughout the entire hour and a half of this film. And let me tell you, it was an excruciatingly long hour and a half. You cannot keep track of the amount of times this film will literally stop in place to have the main character give expository voiceover narration in the middle of a scene. I mean, straight up freeze frame, scene halts like you clicked pause on your remote. And it's not even for anything clever or interesting to say either. The delivery of these straight up horrendous lines has the charm of a 5th grader who just shit their pants. And honestly, I walk back my comment regarding the performances of the actors and actresses. For all I know, they could be the next Rachel McAdams or Leo DiCaprio, because it would take Jesus Christ himself to inspire enough divinity to make this dialogue bearable to human ears. And while we're on the subject of Leonardo DiCaprio, the only moral or thematic message this movie attempts to offer is that being friends with rapists doesn't make you a bad person. There's this douchey frat college bro who ends up being one of the main characters because I think everyone in this film was just some sort of walking stereotype. Everyone thinks he's a date rapist, and it turns out, eventually we learn he technically isn't. He just happens to hang out with the frat that is known for abusing and sexually assaulting women. So, at the end of the day, he's really a great guy, right? Yeah. Anyway, back from that tangent. Like I said, this is a super promising premise. There could be serious tension of not knowing whether someone is genuine or not, of someone looking like a friend when sinister intentions could be lying beneath, of you being alone with someone you think you can trust, only for it to turn out this person is a psychopathic, invading murderer who intends to see your head mounted on a pike by their hand. We get none of that. You'd get more tension and story from firing Among Us back up. At least there, the people are able to give convincing performances and they get better material to work with. Seriously, I cannot emphasize enough how this film basically takes everything interesting about John Carpenter's The Thing and then says, yeah, screw that, what if we did absolutely none of it and just put this conspiracy theorist character on a pedestal for 90 full minutes? The entire framing of the plot comes from the soapbox retrospective vlog of the protagonist. She is the incessant voice that cannot seem to give the viewer like 5 entire minutes of reprieve. She also feels the need to introduce every character with these goddamn freeze frames every time a new person appears on screen, which, would be cool if they did like unique stylistic title cards or something to go along with it, sort of like the chapter designations in The Suicide Squad. But no, it is just the exact same bright green font that looks like it was pulled directly from Microsoft Word. On top of all this, the main character is a conspiracy theorist truther, which, if you've watched my video on Moonfall, you know I hate that archetype being presented like this in modern times. It is cliched, uninteresting, rarely done well, and also enables like the stupidest people in our society. The character whose name I cannot be asked to remember also isn't even into like interesting conspiracy theories either. She just thinks that the moon landing was faked, the government spies on us, and that aliens came to Earth on a meteor that happened to crash in the town that the film takes place in back in the 1970s. Her being right about this aliens theory, with no actual evidence to it either, other than just my mom says so, of course means that she has an encyclopedic knowledge of how this alien species functions. She knows that it's a hive mind. She knows the exact range limitations of said hive mind communication. She knows where the central nest of the hive mind is located. She knows how to destroy the nest. She knows the security countermeasures of the nest. Seriously, did anyone involved in making this film bother to question any of this at all? Or, even bother to make an effort with anything that's been done here? For example, the big climax of the film, when they have to destroy the hive mind, they learn it's located at the final stop of the bar crawl. I'd tell you spoiler warning before I said that, but honestly, I'm doing you a favor. So they show up to this massive party at the bar crawl, and there is literally no one there, which does not even get an in-universe explanation. I mean, it's just like the main characters and a half dozen other people who are dancing in a club. The club music is also conveniently incredibly quiet enough to where they can have a conversation at normal volume. I mean, everything in the frame from second 1 to minute 90 just reeks of lazy filmmaking, top to bottom. I said this channel was supposed to be for me to praise the hard work that goes into making intricately complex narratives and the impossibly difficult process of putting a story to film. But that is very difficult to do when a final product gives me almost zero evidence of hard work or effort. And at least with a lot of bad movies, there are some redeeming qualities. There might be some sort of camp or charm to them that gives them a sense of enjoyment in certain moments while watching. Some sort of cheesiness where you just can't help but smile. Nope. There is zero sign of life or wit in this film. The jokes are unclever, the production value is just high enough to avoid campiness, but still low enough to manage to look like crap most of the time. And it isn't even approaching the appropriate level of ridiculousness that a movie with this kind of plot should be having. I mean, where is the massive battle with the aliens? Where do I get to see a sweet old woman bludgeoned with a pipe because she may be an alien, and then we end up leaving it completely ambiguous? Where are the horrendously cheesy, over-the-top one-liners delivered with so much bravado you just know they have to be in on the joke? Where's the heart? Crawlers is not so bad it's good. It is in fact so bad it's nearly unbearable. They probably show this film to prisoners at Guantanamo Bay when nothing else is working for extracting information. I legitimately do not feel like talking about anything else in this movie. I give it 1 out of 5 stars, which I think is a first for me. Congratulations, Crawlers, you did it. You are the lowest of the low. Starting the spooky season off with a sad, pathetic bang. If anything about the premise of this movie seemed interesting to you, just go watch The Thing. Or read the lore of the Among Us wiki. Both are infinitely better stories than whatever this was. Next time, though, I will be reviewing something much more fetch. See you there, loser.